Welcome back to 2190 Live, everybody. I'm Zaina Allen, and I'm here with breakout star, gorgeous, gorgeous girl, music artist. She's coming out, you know what I'm saying? I'm with Aiyanna-Lee, who is on the newest movie from Spike Lee, the newest Spike Lee joint, if you will, Highest to Lowest. Aiyana, how are you doing?
Hi, how you doing, girl? You look
You're
good.
my good girl too.
Thank you. This
Thank
is my I woke up and tried to look like a human for a second. You know what I mean?
Beautiful.
Vibe.
No, and honestly, if I could wake up and look like a human for a second, just like you, then like what am I doing?
Aw.
Like I could be doing so much with my life. Yeah,
No,
like
girl,
you
you're
are,
naturally
like exactly
gorgeous.
like
I'm
you
here
are.
for you. Thank you, love.
Of course. So we gotta start with highest to lowest. I
Yeah.
need to know, the fans need to know, the world needs to know. What was it like to be on set with the Denzel Washington?
Yeah, man, just completely a surreal experience. I mean, I've watched his movies since I was a kid, and he's literally one of the greatest of all time. He is just a incredible person to work with, so inspirational. He's dropping gems. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the interviews. He is dropping gems in real life. I mean, it's just such a blessing to be in that man's presence because he genuinely is just like that. And just a humble human being. And I think Spike really does do such a great job of surrounding himself with genuine people, which is a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. Hmm.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Were there any moments where you were like starstruck? If you, I know, I feel like people aren't necessarily starstruck, but I don't know if it was me, if I was with Denzel, I'd be like, wow, this is the Denzel Washington.
No, for sure. Nah, for sure, for sure. When he first walked into the room, I was just like, wait, he's a real person. This is a real human being. And I don't get starstruck a lot, but his presence, he really is a star. And I think a lot of people have said this, but when he walks in the room, you really feel it. And yeah, but I will say is he and Spike made me feel so comfortable and so confident and so supported that it wasn't environment where I felt intimidated. It was more like we're working together. It feels like a family and a home, and we're all just trying to get the best work out of it. Yeah.
I love that. That sounds like a great experience,
Yeah.
And speaking of Spike, it went down in the DMs,
Yeah.
So you shot your shot with him, right? Like, can you explain?
No. So he DM'd me
Oh, he
on
DM'd you?
Instagram,
Okay.
which is, I can't even just that sentence alone, without even the film, nothing else, just to say Spike Lee DM'd me on Instagram and found me on Instagram is just such a it's like a unique experience, original experience. Man, I mean, he found me on Instagram. I had written this song called My Idols Lied to Me. I put it out. It went super viral. And he found me from that and sent me a long DM. It was like, "Hi, I'm the real Spike Lee. I saw the little, the check mark." I was like, "Wait, I really believe it's him." I woke my mom up. It was 6 a.m. I said, I think Spike Lee DM'd me," and she was just like, "Are you sure? We really?" And I was just like, "What?" I mean, it's 6 a.m. She's like, "Are you dreaming, girl?" But I showed her the DM and I met him that same day, funny enough.
Oh, really? Were
Yeah,
you were in LA at the time?
yeah.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
so was he. He happened to be there. It was that same day. And we met up and man, what an inspirational guy. We got to talk about music and film and the correlation and how he's been so inspired by music and the culmination of both together. And he became really like a big brother to me.
I love that. I love that. And I think it's even more powerful because like Spike is it's Spike, like it's
Yeah.
a legend and is a
Yeah.
guy who's made such a great impact on this world just by being him.
Yeah.
Also, I think that just having those types of conversations with him, I'm sure like rubbed off on you in like an amazing way.
Oh yeah. I think my whole perspective has shifted about so many different things. And I also felt affirmed in a lot of different ways as well, because I think so often, in the entertainment industry as well, especially as a young artist, you can be put down so often, or feel like, be told that your vision or what you have to say isn't important. And he's someone who likes to amplify, voices, and I think that was such a contrast to what I had experienced throughout the industry up until that point.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And then I
Mhm.
want to talk about a little bit more about your work in the film. Um,
Yeah,
your performance in the movie, especially like in the final scene, was called one of
yeah.
the film's strongest moments. So I want to know, like, what inner journey were you tapping into to deliver like such an emotional intensity?
Um, I think it's years of a lot of struggle. And it's so funny because that same scene, it feels like a full circle moment, because I've been in the position of an artist in front of a Mr. King who is auditioning and trying to get the approval of an executive, and being signed. And I've already been through the whole shebang. So for me, carrying that experience, and also carrying like the pain of it, and almost being homeless. I mean, the same year I met Spike, I was almost homeless, and I remember at one point a music video paying my rent. So, you know, being through all of these different things, it felt like this moment where I really got to be myself and just express myself to the fullest. And also, because I got to write the song, there was so much more pain and reality brought to the performance as well.
I love that. I love to hear that. I think that when actors or performers, just in general, really tap into something personal, they give such a great performance, and we
Mm,
can tell that, like, you were able to connect
mm,
your own experiences to the performance that you had on the film. So I honestly,
you.
like, I loved it. But I do want to talk about your lineage a little bit.
Uh-oh. Let's
Yeah,
get into it.
with the niece of David Ruffin,
Yeah,
the granddaughter of
crazy.
Jimmy Ruffin. I want to know, like, do you consider yourself like a nepo baby?
No, I mean no, only because of this. Hold on. Let me state my case. Let me state my
Okay.
case. Hold on, everybody. Let me state my case. I'd say no, only because, unfortunately, David died before I was born. One. Secondly, I was not close. I mean, uh, I was not close with my father's side of the family, and unfortunately had a bad experience with my father, which is a whole story in its own on its own. And I was raised by a single mother, in the UK, single mom. Really worked from her own story being a political refugee, in Romania, to, going to England and fleeing the country. And her story is so insane in itself. So, you know, her being the person who brought me up, and it was a beautiful thing because I did get to talk to Jimmy a lot, and he did support. He was like, "Yo, the legacy of the family." I was like, "Yeah, that's a heavy title over there." But I never got the support from that side when it comes to industry or financially, or anything in my life. I really had to fight to the point where, my last name is Anderson. So it was something that I don't think a lot of people even knew until now, probably digging it up the last few years. Um, but yeah, I think that's the only reason I wouldn't consider it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fine. What do you like? What do you think of the idea of a nepo baby? Like, I think that there's a lot of discourse about the idea of what a nepo
Yeah,
is. Personally, I think that nepo baby's like, hey, if my kid's a nepo baby, that's great. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
yeah,
we talk about how we want to end the struggle for our future generations, but then the idea
right.
of a nepo baby comes in, and everybody's like, they didn't deserve it and things like that. So I want to know, like, what your thoughts are.
Yeah. I think this. If you're talented, you're talented.
Yeah.
That's my bottom line. My bottom line is, if you're genuinely passionate, I think it's one of those things where if someone has a calling and they love it, they live, they breathe, they put the work in, whether you're a nepo baby or not a nepo baby. If you're earning, if you're genuinely enthralled by that, then to each his own.
Yeah.
I don't care how you got there, but be passionate and let me see the work, and let me see that you getting good at it. Even if you start off not good, give people grace. It's about just putting in the work and seeing the progression.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's a good way to put it for sure.
Yeah.
That you shared before that you were told that you were like too pretty to be talented, too deep to market, your voice was too big, things of that nature. Like, how
Yeah.
did you dismantle these limiting narratives, right? And what truth did you replace them with?
Man, that's a deep one, girl. You going deep with this. I mean, it is crazy, being a young woman in the industry, just period, is a tough thing. I think it's tougher than people even can recognize because you are met with so many different obstacles. And in my case, you're too pretty to be able to write your own songs or produce, or you're pretty and you got a voice, but people like you don't also, you're not able to do everything, right? You're not a multi hyphenate being. It's a concept that feels so out of balance, out of whack for a lot of people, especially in the industry. But I think, it takes people speaking up about it. It takes, few people, few artists just being themselves for that to start changing, right? Because I feel like we're at this crossroads point in the industry, and I think this film also has a beautiful way of showcasing that with, the AI versus the artistry versus, numbers versus talent. And I think we're going through that right now. And now, where I'd say I'd replace those things with confident, knowing who I am, um, um, powerful, you know, uh, I'm willing now to bet more on myself rather than the idea of what other people wanted to put on me.
I love that. Yeah.
And to be honest, it's like I'd rather be hated for who I am than an idea of someone else's.
Again, that is come on. Come on, that's good. I learned from someone told me something similar a few years ago that, give me the opportunity to hate you rather than you like
Mm,
being someone that you're not. And I
mhm.
stuck with me, stuck with me.
Yeah,
It's like it's
yeah,
fair. Like, don't create this fake version of yourself uh
yeah,
to appease people. Like
yeah.
just be who you are and people not everybody gonna like you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's
And
okay.
that's okay.
It should be that way. If everybody likes you, there's a problem. It shouldn't be that way. And you don't create a real community, a real fan base by pretending to be everybody.
Right.
So
Right.
it's creating a lane and sticking to it. And I think now, at this point in my career, especially be feeling, to some degree validated, I feel like, and also encouraged to be myself, why would I be anything else or dumb myself down? It doesn't make sense.
Right. No, completely understand that. And um this leads into my next question perfectly. We often
Mhm.
hear so many stories about like the industry screwing over artists. I think
Right.
Money Long recently spoke about her situation.
Mm.
Even like Victoria Monet, like it took her years to become who she was, but she was always like
Yep.
writing in the background. So, City of Lies, written and produced entirely by you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
explores the betrayal and survival in an industry that's built on illusion, right? So I want
Mhm.
to know, like, what personal lies were you finally like ready to expose, and how did the
Mm.
creative process feel for you?
Man, you hitting on with some real questions here. Um, Damn. I mean, I feel like I put a lot on the floor. I
Uh-huh.
left a lot on the
Put it on
floor
the
with this song.
flow. Yeah,
I left a lot with this song. I got to really um yeah, it felt like a diary entry. It kind of felt like the opening and a closing of an era for me because, I wanted to kind of explain what I had gone through in this kind of in something again just very much like Idols, very much like Love's Graveyard. Most of the songs I've written in my room, at my laptop. This laptop sitting right in front of me. Um Man, City of Lies is a trip. I don't know. What lies have I exposed? Jeez. I know, listen to the song.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Okay.
self I feel like it's a self-explanatory type of joint and a really storytelling type of joint. And what was the second question?
And it was, how was the creative process? Like, what was that like for you?
Mhm. Yeah, I had just gotten out of another situation. I couldn't release music for a year. So that was really tough for me. Really, really tough because I'd been in those types of situations before where I'm creating albums or projects and they just never get heard. So I got out of all my situations and I felt like, yo, I have not dropped anything in a year. I feel like I gotta showcase my story and tell people where I've been, especially the people who've been following me. And I was just in my room and I started producing. I had been producing for a while. Um, and I was like, you know what? Let me just not overthink it, just put it out for the fans and give them a bit of an explanation. So it felt like a transitionary song into now I'm kind of starting fresh with a whole new wave that I'm very excited about, but it felt like putting that story to rest.
I love that. I love that. I can't wait to see like your evolution for sure, especially if you say like it was a this is a restart or a
Yeah.
new chapter for sure. And like as someone, it's my final question. I want to let you have your time for the day.
Nah,
So,
girl, I'm here for it. Look.
as someone who's, just getting started after already achieving like so much, how do you define success for yourself in the years to come?
Wow. Um, Damn. I think being able to really see your impact on the world.
Mm,
And that shows up in so many different ways. It can be selling out shows. It can be, people um, saying how much they relate to the music. And I think, even when I get that now, it feels like this is why I'm doing it and this is why I keep going because having that direct connection with people and feeling understood because I started doing music because I wanted to feel understood,
mm,
and I feel like the people who've resonated with what I've been able to showcase and write, they feel the same way and have gone through some of the same things, maybe in their own different ways, but they've gone through their own struggle. And so I think it's just growing community and feeling the impact in the air. And I feel like that also comes with changing the industry to a degree because I feel like for so long, quantity over quality has been a priority. A lot of mediocrity has been supported and showcased to a point where I think the tides have to turn and we have to put artistry first and we have to give more people voices to express themselves authentically, you know. Um, so I think it comes with community and change, seeing the change in the industry as well.
absolutely. I love to hear it. Well, everybody go ahead and check out Aiyanna-Lee and Highest to Lowest. Her latest single, City of Lies. And what else are we expecting from you, sis?
I'm trying to put out a song. Well, actually, I'm not gonna say try because Spike would be
Yeah.
like, try.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. Erase the word from the vocab. I want to put out a single in October. It's called Harder I Try, and it's a real special one. It's a real special song.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.